The year is 1971. Hong Kong's Shaw Brothers Studio, Clearwater Bay Sound, Stage 7, a cavernous concrete warehouse where legends are forged under tungsten lights that turn sweat into liquid gold. In exactly 4 minutes and 37 seconds, 5 professional stuntmen will leave this building on stretchers. Bruce Lee stands in the center of a chalk-marked combat circle, 20 feet in diameter. He's 30 years old, 5'7", 135 pounds of coiled precision, wrapped in a black cotton GI, with sleeves torn off at the shoulders. His skin gleams under the overhead lights. Around him, film equipment forms a mechanical jungle. Cameras on dollies, boom microphones hanging like metal birds of prey, cables snaking across the floor in chaotic patterns. The air smells of sawdust, liniment oil, and something sharper. Anticipation? Fear? Maybe? In the shadows near the equipment carts, a 17-year-old kid with a mop of black hair watches every movement Bruce makes. Jackie Chan, still called Kong Seng by most of the crew, has been working as a stuntman for 3 years. He's seen skilled fighters. He's been thrown by the best choreographers in the industry. He has never seen anything like what he's watching now. Bruce moves through warm-up sequences with mechanical fluidity. 1-inch punches into a heavy bag that jumps on its chain with each impact. The sound cracks through the soundstage like small-caliber gunfire. His feet barely seem to touch the ground between strikes. Each movement flows into the next with the inevitability of water finding its level. Jackie's hands grip the edge of a prop table. His knuckles are white. This isn't a film shoot, not officially. Word had spread through the studio commissary 3 days earlier. 5 stuntmen from a rival action troupe had been talking loud enough to be heard, loud enough to be reported back. They'd called Bruce's fighting style dance choreography for Americans who don't know better, said his speed was camera tricks and wire work, said if he faced real martial artists without Hollywood magic, he'd fold like paper. The challenge had been issued through intermediaries, traditional face-saving, but the message was clear. Bruce had accepted immediately. The 5 challengers enter Soundstage 7 like they own it. They move in formation, 2 in front, 2 flanking, 1 trailing. All wear traditional white martial arts uniforms. Their leader is the tallest, maybe 6'1", with shoulders that strain the fabric of his GI. His name is Chen Wei, 34 years old, a legitimate Hung Gar practitioner with competition wins across Southeast Asia. His hands are wrapped in cloth tape, the knuckles beneath already callous into weapons. Behind him, his 4 brothers in arms, all trained, all credentialed, all convinced that Bruce Lee's reputation is built on Western audiences who can't distinguish real martial arts from movie magic. They think this will be educational. They have no idea. The soundstage is filled with witnesses, 20, maybe 30 people lining the walls in the shadows, studio executives, choreographers, other stuntmen. Everyone knows this matters beyond 5 men and their wounded pride. This is about legitimacy, about whether the man who just signed a star in a major motion picture can actually fight, or if he's just another actor with good reflexes and better camera angles. Jackie stands next to his Saifu, a grizzled choreographer named Master Yu, who's worked in the industry since before Jackie was born. Master Yu's face is expressionless, but his fingers drum against his crossed arms, a nervous tell Jackie has learned to recognize. Should we stop this? Jackie whispers. Master Yu doesn't look at him. Could you? Jackie looks back at Bruce. The answer is obvious. Chen Wei steps into the chalk circle. He bows, perfunctory, minimal respect. We've agreed to no contact sparring. Light touch only. This is a demonstration, not a street fight. Bruce returns the bow with precise depth and duration. His face reveals nothing, of course, but something in his voice makes Jackie's stomach tighten. The studio has gone quiet. The kind of silence that feels like pressure in your ears before a storm breaks. Chen Wei's first move is textbook Hung Gar, a low horse stance sliding forward, testing Bruce's reaction time with a straight punch toward the solar plexus. Controlled. Measured. Bruce isn't there. He's moved 3 feet to the left with a speed that makes the displacement look like a film skip, like someone cut frames from reality. Jackie blinks. His eyes tell him Bruce moved. His brain struggles to process when. Chen Wei adjusts, resets. He's smiling, but the expression doesn't reach his eyes. Quick. The second exchange is faster. Chen Wei throws a combination. Jab, cross, low kick. Good technique. Tournament-winning technique. Bruce weaves through the attacks like he's reading them from a script he wrote. Himself. His hands don't even rise to block. He simply exists in the spaces between Chen Wei's weapons. The four other challengers watch from outside the circle. One of them, shorter, compact, wearing a brown belt, shifts his weight uncomfortably. Chen Wei's smile has evaporated. He presses harder. A flurry of hand strikes followed by a sweeping leg technique meant to disrupt Bruce's base. 7, 8, 9 attacks in rapid succession. Bruce catches the ninth strike, a ridge hand aimed at his temple, on his forearm. The sound of the contact echoes through the soundstage, a sharp crack like a baseball bat hitting leather. Chen Wei's eyes widen, just slightly, just enough. Bruce hasn't thrown a single strike yet. Your horse stance is too wide, Bruce says quietly. His voice carries in the silence. You sacrifice mobility for stability against a static opponent, effective against movement. He doesn't finish the sentence with words. His lead foot slides forward 6 inches. His rear hand rises, palm open, fingers loose from a standstill. He generates a strike that travels maybe 8 inches total. His palm touches Chen Wei's sternum. Light contact, exactly as agreed. Chen Wei's body lifts off the ground. Not a stumble, not a push backward. He goes airborne, both feet clearing the floor by 6 inches, and travels backward 4 feet before landing hard on his tailbone. The impact drives the air from his lungs in a visible gust. He sits there, mouth open, trying to remember how breathing works. Jackie's hands have gone numb from gripping the table. Master Yu has stopped drumming his fingers. 1-inch punch, Master Yu mutters. I've heard stories, never seen it. The four remaining challengers look at each other. A conversation happens in glances and slight head movements. Jackie can read the uncertainty in their body language. They came here as a unit, but now they're recalculating. Chen Wei was supposed to be the best among them. Chen Wei is still sitting on the floor. The second challenger steps forward before anyone can talk him out of it. This one is the shortest, the brown belt Jackie noticed earlier. His name is Lok, 26 years old. A Wing Chun practitioner who trained in IP Man's lineage, the same lineage Bruce studied before developing his own style. Pride drives him more than strategy. If he backs down now, he'll carry the shame for years. Again, he says just that one word. Bruce nods once. Lok doesn't waste time on testing. He knows what he saw. He comes in aggressive, centerline attacks, rapid-fire chain punches designed to overwhelm through volume. It's good. Wing Chun traditional, exactly how it's taught. Bruce dismantles it with 3 movements. A parry that redirects 4 strikes simultaneously. A footwork adjustment that changes the angle 45 degrees. And a back fist pulled, barely touching. That stops 1 millimeter from Lok's temple. Lok freezes mid-punch. He can feel Bruce's knuckles hovering against his skin, not touching, close enough that the heat of Bruce's hand warms his face. Your chain punch is telegraphed through your shoulder, Bruce says, and you're focused on my chest instead of my eyes. You're fighting my body, not my intent. Bruce withdraws his hand, steps back, gives Lok space to reset. Lok doesn't reset. He stands there, arms still extended in a punch that will never land, and something breaks in his expression. Not anger, something quieter. The realization that the gap between them isn't about effort or training hours, it's about fundamental understanding. He bows deeply, real respect this time, and walks out of the circle. One down by choice, one down on the floor still catching his breath. 3 remain. They enter the circle together. This wasn't part of the agreement. The terms were one-on-one demonstrations, but honor has given way to survival instinct. 3 against 1. They're abandoning the pretense of a friendly demonstration. This is now about damage control, about leaving with something intact, even if it's just the ability to say, they forced Bruce Lee to face multiple opponents. Jackie starts to move forward. Master Yu's hand claps on his shoulder. Don't, but they strike. I know Master Yu's voice is tight. Watch what happens. Bruce stands in the center of the circle, hands at his sides. His expression hasn't changed. 3 men begin to circle him like wolves who found something that looks like prey but smells wrong. The attack comes from 3 vectors simultaneously, a coordinated strike pattern they've probably drilled thousands of times. Left flank goes low, right flank goes high, center comes straight. It's smart, it should work. Bruce moves into the center attacker, not away into us. He closes distance so fast that Jackie's eyes lose track of the individual movements. All he sees is the result. Bruce inside the center attacker's reach. One elbow controlled, precise, into the solar plexus. The man's breath explodes outward. He crumples. Bruce uses the falling body as a pivot point, spinning around the collapsing opponent. He's suddenly behind where the man stood. The attacker who came from the left overshoots. His low kick hitting nothing but air where Bruce was a half second ago. Off balance, committed to a technique with no target, Bruce's shin sweeps the supporting leg. Not hard. Just enough. The man goes down in a controlled fall, years of training teaching him how to absorb the impact. But he's done. He knows it. He stays down. Two left standing. The right flank attacker and Chen Wei, who has climbed back to his feet, jaw set, pride overriding the screaming messages his body is sending about retreat. Being the intelligent option, they rush simultaneously. Bruce executes a technique Jackie will try to replicate for the next 40 years and never fully manage. He drops his center of gravity 6 inches. Both attackers' strikes pass through the space his head occupied a fraction of a way. Second earlier, while they're extended, committed, unable to adjust, Bruce rises with a double palm strike. One palm catches Chen Wei's jaw. Light contact. Exactly enough force to snap his head sideways without causing permanent damage. The other palm hits the final attacker's shoulder. Again, controlled. But the force transfers through the joint, and the man spins like a top, his feet tangling, and he goes down hard. Chen Wei wobbles. His eyes aren't quite focused. He takes one step backward, then another. His legs give out and he sits down heavily, less controlled than the first time. 4.5 minutes since they entered the circle. 5 men, and the soundstage is absolutely silent. Bruce walks to each fallen man. He offers his hand, helps them up one by one. His movements are gentle now. The violence has evaporated like it was never there. He's checking each of them. Hands pressing against ribs, fingers testing joints, eyes examining pupils. You, he says to Chen Wei, pointing at the man's left knee. You'll have swelling ice tonight. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. See a doctor if it doesn't improve in 3 days. To another, your wrist. You landed wrong. It's sprained, not broken. Wrap it, keep it elevated. He moves through them like a physician making rounds. Diagnosing. Instructing. The men listen with stunned expressions. They came here to expose a fraud. They're leaving with medical advice from the man who just systematically dismantled them with what looked like minimal effort. Look, the Wing Chun practitioner who withdrew steps forward. I don't understand. You could have. Why did you hold back? Bruce looks at him for a long moment. Breaking you proves nothing. Breaking requires no skill against opponents who don't see what I see. Teaching requires control, requires understanding not just how to destroy, but why destruction isn't necessary. He turns to face all 5 of them. You came here believing I couldn't fight. Now you know I can. But that's the least important lesson today. The soundstage has remained silent. The witnesses in the shadows haven't moved. Jackie realizes he's been holding his breath and forces himself to inhale. Real mastery, Bruce continues, his voice carrying to every corner of the cavernous space, isn't about winning fights. It's about understanding when fighting isn't necessary. You believe my style was theater. You were right, but not the way you meant. Theater serves a purpose. It teaches, it inspires, it makes people think about what's possible. He gestures at the chalk circle. This is easy. Defeating opponents is easy when you understand principles instead of memorizing techniques. But after I defeat you, what changes? You carry shame. I carry empty pride. 5 minutes of ego gratification. Bruce walks to the edge of the circle. Or I can do what I did, show you the gap, then show you I'm not interested in humiliating you for it. Show you that strength without control is just violence. And violence without purpose is waste. Chen Wei has managed to stand, though. He's favoring his right leg. His face is flushed. Shame and anger war in his expression, but beneath both, something else. The beginning of understanding. You embarrassed us in front of the entire studio, Chen Wei says quietly. Everyone will know we lost. Everyone will know you challenged someone you thought was a fraud, Bruce replies. And everyone will know that person chose to teach instead of destroy. Which of us looks better in that story? The question hangs in the air. No one answers. Go home, Bruce says. Not unkindly, heel train. Think about why you really came here today. If you're honest with yourself, it wasn't about me at all. The 5 men leave in silence. Loke pauses at the door, looks back at Bruce, bows deeply one more time. Then they're gone. The witnesses begin to disperse. Murmured conversations ripple through the shadows. Jackie hears fragments. Faster than I thought possible. I could have killed them. Showed mercy. Master Yu releases Jackie's shoulder. That, he says, is what separates a fighter from a martial artist. Jackie nods, but he's not sure he fully understands yet. He will, though. 30 years from now, in a different city, when a drunk businessman challenges him in a hotel lobby and Jackie has to make the same choice, destroy or teach, he'll remember this moment. He'll remember that the strongest thing Bruce Lee did in that circle wasn't the 1-inch punch or the 3-on-1 counter. It was walking away with 5 enemies who might, eventually, become students. 3 weeks later, Loke returns to Sound Stage 7. He doesn't announce himself, doesn't make demands. He simply appears on set while Bruce is rehearsing fight choreography for a new film. Loke stands at the edge of the training area, hands clasped behind his back, waiting. Bruce notices him between takes, walks over. Your wrist healed? Yes, Sufu. The word teacher comes naturally. Bruce raises an eyebrow. I'm not your Saifu. Then what would you call someone who showed me I'd been training for 10 years without understanding what I was training for? Bruce studies him. A long, evaluating silence. Then, show me your chain punch, the same one you used against me. Loke demonstrates his technique is flawless by traditional standards. Straight line attacks, rapid fire, maintaining center line. Good. Bruce says, textbook perfect. Now tell me why it failed. Because you moved where I didn't expect? No, Bruce shakes his head. It failed because you were executing a technique. You weren't fighting me. You were performing Wing Chun at me. There's a difference. He demonstrates, slowly breaking down the movement. Chain punching works when you're faster than your opponent's ability to process and react, but against someone who sees your intent before you move, technique speed doesn't matter. I wasn't reacting to your punches. I was responding to your decision to punch. Luke's eyes widen. How do you how do you even train that? By understanding that martial arts isn't about moves, it's about principles. Water doesn't memorize shapes, it flows into whatever shape contains it. Be water. It's not the first time Bruce has said this, won't be the last. But for Loke, hearing it in this context, after experiencing the vast gulf between technique and understanding, the words land differently. Teach me, Loke says simply. Bruce regards him for another long moment, then nods. Wednesdays and Saturdays, 6 a.m., bring the others if they're interested. Chen Wei won't come. His pride is his problem. The invitation is open. What he does with it is his choice. 4 of the 5 eventually return. They train with Bruce irregularly over the next year. Whenever his film schedule permits, whenever their own work allows, he never charges them, never makes a formal school. He simply shares what he's learned and they absorb what they can. Chen Wei never returns. Jackie hears stories, years later, that Chen Wei opened his own school, that he teaches Hung Gar with slight modifications. Footwork that emphasizes mobility. The techniques that account for opponents who might move in unpredictable patterns. The curriculum never mentions Bruce Lee by name, but the lessons are there, woven into the teaching, invisible acknowledgement. Loke becomes a stunt coordinator, builds a career on creating fight choreography that prioritizes realism over flash. He'll tell anyone who asks that he learned from Bruce Lee, not fighting, but understanding. The difference between defeating someone and changing how they see the world. Bruce Lee dies at 32 years old, cerebral edema, a life cut devastatingly short. Jackie Chan attends the funeral with thousands of others. He stands in the back, remembering that afternoon in Soundstage 7, remembering how Bruce moved through 5 opponents like he was dancing, through rain, untouched, untouchable, and ultimately merciful. The world mourns a film star, an icon, a cultural phenomenon who broke barriers and changed how Asian men were portrayed on screen. Jackie mourns the teacher he never formally studied under, but learned from nonetheless. Because Bruce Lee taught more in those 4.5 minutes than most instructors convey in years of formal classes, he taught that real power is choosing not to use it, that victory without honor is just violence, that the strongest message you can send is demonstrating capability and then immediately demonstrating that capability doesn't require cruelty. Jackie Chan sits across from an interviewer in a Beijing hotel suite. They're discussing his autobiography. The interviewer asks about influences, about the moments that shaped his approach to action cinema and martial arts. Jackie talks about his years at the Chinese opera school, about Master Yu and the brutal training that forged his work ethic. Then he pauses. But if I'm honest, he says, the single most important lesson I ever witnessed wasn't in a classroom or training hall. He tells the story of Soundstage 7-5 stuntmen who challenged Bruce Lee. 4.5 minutes that changed how Jackie understood strength. I've been in thousands of fights on screen, Jackie says, won all of them because the script says so. But Bruce taught me that the real fight isn't against opponents, it's against yourself. Against your ego, your anger, your need to prove something. The interviewer leans forward. Did Bruce Lee ever know how much that moment affected you? Jackie shakes his head slowly. I never told him I was 17 shy. He died before I had the courage or understanding to articulate what I'd seen. He looks directly at the camera, but I've tried to honor it. Every time someone challenges me and I choose to walk away. Every time I use my platform to teach instead of just perform. Every time I remember that being capable of destruction doesn't mean you're obligated to destroy. You've watched this video for a reason. Maybe you admired Bruce Lee's speed, his precision, the way he moved through five opponents like they were standing still. But that's the least important part of this story. The real question this moment asks, the question Bruce Lee posed in that chalk circle, is what do you do when you win? When you're right and someone else is wrong? When you're capable and they're outmatched? When you have the power to humiliate, to destroy, to prove your superiority beyond any doubt? Do you break them or do you teach them? Think about the last argument you won. The last time someone challenged you and you had facts of proof, capability on your side. Did you use that moment to crush them, to ensure they understood exactly how wrong they were, how inadequate their position was? Or did you show them a path forward? Bruce Lee could have sent five men to the hospital with permanent injuries. Instead, he gave them medical advice and an open invitation to learn. He could have built his legend on their humiliation. Instead, he built it on demonstrating that mercy requires more skill than violence. 4.5 minutes. Five men entered that circle believing strength meant defeating opponents. Five men left understanding that real strength means choosing not to. The lesson isn't about martial arts. It's about every moment where you have power over someone who wronged you. Every argument you win. Every time someone underestimates you and you have the opportunity to prove them catastrophically wrong, those are the moments that define you, not your capability. Bruce Lee's capability was never in question after that afternoon. Your character, what you choose to do when you could destroy but don't have to. Jackie Chan watched a 17-year-old watch that lesson unfold. He spent the next 50 years trying to embody it, teaching instead of performing, building up instead of tearing down, using his platform not just to entertain but to demonstrate that strength without wisdom is just violence dressed in success. The five stuntmen who entered Soundstage 7 that afternoon came seeking to expose a fraud. They left, having met a teacher. Some of them accepted the lesson, some carried shame, but all of them walked away intact, physically whole, with a choice about who they wanted to become. Bruce Lee gave them that gift by choosing restraint over revenge. What will you choose when your moment comes? Because it will come. Perhaps it already has. Someone will underestimate you, challenge you, dismiss your capability, and you'll have the power to prove them devastatingly wrong. The question Bruce Lee answered in 4.5 minutes is the question we all face in those moments. What story do you want to tell about yourself? The one where you destroyed someone who doubted you, or the one where you changed someone who challenged you? Bruce Lee chose the second story. 17-year-old Jackie Chan watched it happen and built a 50-year career honoring that choice. The lesson is 4 decades old. The challenge is brand new. What will you do with it?